You know, when we look up at the night sky, we're not just seeing little points of light, are we? We're actually looking at stories and science, all woven together across these just unimaginable distances. Today, we're diving into one of the most famous parts of the sky, the constellation Andromeda. And let me tell you, it's a story that starts with an ancient princess and ends at the doorstep of a whole other galaxy. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into that dramatic Greek myth. Then, we'll figure out how you can actually spot the constellation for yourself. After that, we are absolutely exploring its most famous resident, the Andromeda Galaxy, uncovering some other hidden gems along the way, and finally, I'll give you everything you need to become an Andromeda explorer in your own right. All right, let's start at the beginning, with the story. Because, before Andromeda was this collection of stars we see, she was the hero of this terrifying legend. We're talking vain queens, angry gods, sea monsters, the whole shebang. So all the trouble kicked off with Andromeda's mom, Queen Cassiopeia. She was so incredibly proud of her own beauty that she actually dared to brag that she was even more beautiful than the Nereids, who were, divine sea nymphs. Well, that was a huge no-no, and word got back to their protector, the sea god Poseidon himself. And what's so cool is that this entire drama, it plays out right across our night sky. Seriously, the gods put the whole cast of characters up there as constellations. You can find the entire royal family, Cassiopeia, King Cepheus, and of course Andromeda. And right next door, you've got the monster, Cetus, and the hero who swooped in to save her, Perseus. It's like a whole story, literally written in starlight. So to punish the queen for her arrogance, Poseidon sent this sea monster, Cetus, to just destroy the kingdom. The king, totally desperate, went to an oracle who gave him this absolutely horrifying news. The only way to save their people was to chain their own daughter, Andromeda, to a cliff by the sea as a sacrifice. So there she is, chained to the rock, and just as the monster is coming out of the waves, the hero Perseus, who's flying home on his winged sandals after defeating Medusa, by the way, he spots her. He swoops down, whips out the Gorgon's head, turns Cetus to stone, and frees the princess. They got married, and the gods put them all up in the sky to remember their story forever. It's a fantastic story, right? But it does make you wonder. Once we leave the myth behind and just look up, what are we really seeing up there? Okay, so let's switch gears from storytelling to stargazing. If you went outside tonight, how would you actually find Andromeda? Don't worry, I've got you covered. This really shows you the difference between those old, fancy star charts and what our eyes can actually pick out. The old maps have this elaborate drawing of a maiden, but the reality? It's much, much simpler. What you're really looking for is just a simple, gentle curve made up of 3 bright stars. It's almost a straight line in the dark. Now, if you want to find it, your best bet is in the fall and early winter. Look for its neighbors from the myth, Perseus and Cassiopeia. On a really clear night, you might see up to 100 stars in the constellation, but the ones you want to focus on are the 7 brightest. In astronomy, we measure brightness with magnitude, and it's a little weird. The lower the number, the brighter the star. So those 3 stars that make up Andromeda's main arc, they're the brightest ones, shining at the 2nd magnitude. But the real reason Andromeda is so famous, especially among astronomers, isn't because of a star. Not at all. It's because it's home to the most incredible deep sky object you can see with just your eyes, our next-door neighbor galaxy. The Andromeda Galaxy is about 2 million light-years away. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. The faint little bit of light that you see from it tonight, that light started its journey to your eyes 2 million years ago. That's long before modern humans even walked the Earth. It's staggering. And yeah, just a quick reminder for everyone, a light year isn't time, it's distance. It's the absolutely mind-boggling distance that light, the fastest thing there is, can travel in 1 full year. So yeah, we are talking about a truly cosmic scale here. This table, this is where things get really wild. It shows the huge difference between what we see and what's actually there. To us, it looks like a tiny, faint little smudge. But in reality, it's a gigantic spiral galaxy, even bigger than our own Milky Way. And check out its size in the sky. Astronomers measure this in angular size. So for comparison, the full moon is about 30 minutes of arc wide. The part of the Andromeda Galaxy we can see is only 15 minutes of arc, so half the width of the full moon, but its true size is a whopping 240 minutes of arc. That's 8 full moons side by side. We're literally only seeing the very brightest tip of this massive cosmic iceberg.
But wait, there's more. Beyond the galaxy, this constellation is hiding a few other treasures. Let's check out a gorgeous double star and the ghost of a comet that's long gone.
Okay, if you have a telescope, you have to look for a star called Gamma Andromedae. It's one of the most beautiful double stars in the entire sky. To your eye, it looks like just one star, but through a telescope, it splits into two, a bright yellow main star and its smaller companion, which has this incredible green glow. It's just a magical combination to see. Now, this is a wild story. Near that same star is where a really interesting meteor shower comes from. It all started with Biela's comet, found way back in 1772. Then, in 1846, astronomers watched it split in two, right before their eyes. After 1852, the comet just vanished. It was never seen again. But then, in 1872, when Earth passed through its old orbit, people saw an unbelievable star shower as the comet's debris rained down and burned up in our atmosphere. And this chart shows what happened after that. That incredible shower of 10,000 meteors an hour in 1872, it just faded away over the next few decades. And that's because the comet's debris isn't spread out nice and evenly. It's all clumpy. So sometimes we fly through a really dense cloud and get a great show, and other times, we barely see a thing. So how can you take all this information and become an Andromeda explorer for yourself? All right, let's put it all together and recap the key stuff. Okay, here's what you really need to remember. Andromeda is both a myth and a map in the sky. Its main shape is just a simple arc of stars. It's home to the Andromeda Galaxy, our colossal cosmic neighbor that's way, way bigger than it looks. And hey, don't forget its other wonders, that colorful double star and the leftovers of a shattered comet. Want to really feel the scale we've been talking about? Let's do some super simple but mind-blowing math. If you take the galaxy's true angular size, 240 arc-minutes, and you divide it by what we can see, 15 arc-minutes, you get 16. What does that mean? It means the Andromeda Galaxy is actually 16 times wider than that little smudge we can see. It's hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you want to go hunting for the ghost of Biela's comet, go ahead and mark your calendar. The Andromeda meteor shower, even though it's pretty faint these days, it peaks every year right around November 24th. It's a cool chance to see a real piece of astronomical history. And that leaves us with this one last, really fascinating thought. We know those clouds of dust and ice from Biela's comet are still out there, orbiting the sun. And we know they're spread out unevenly. So it makes you wonder, will our descendants, maybe generations from now, pass through a really dense part of that stream and be treated, once again, to a spectacular celestial storm, all from the ghost of a lost comet? You just never know. The sky is always full of surprises.